Am I the asshole for not letting my husband and child drink from my cup or eat from my plate? I absolutely hate people picking off my plate or using my cup. Lately, my 2-year-old has started trying to pick food out of my plate with his fingers. He's obsessed with my water bottle, and if I put it within reach he takes it and drinks out of it. I don't mind sharing my food, as in putting some of it on his plate for him, but I'm just not wanting anyone putting their fingers in my food or backwashing in my water bottle. My husband has now also started eating out of serving dishes or trying to use my fork. He's seen that I try to teach our son, "This is mama's plate, this is your plate. We can share, but you can't take food from my plate." My husband says I'm being a germaphobe and that we are family and we should all share, but I've never been a sharer of utensils, and as much as I love our family, I've gotten enough viruses from my son to know better. I also think it's important for a child to know boundaries. They can't just take other people's food, and a grown man should know he can't drink out of a milk carton or eat from a serving dish. My husband said I'm being selfish and OCD about it and asked how I can look at our son and say no to him when he wants to share. Now I feel like a jerk. Am I the asshole? Once watched a family of 4 eat the same breakfast sandwich. Mom was trying to eat her sandwich. Kid 1 grabbed her hand and then took a slobbery bite. Kid 2 felt left out, had his slobbery bite. Dad had a nibble, he thought it was Oddarbs. And Mom was left with a mangled sandwich. She was at kid number 3's sporting event and had limited options. She threw the rest out. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You shouldn't have to be teaching your husband the same lessons you're teaching your 2-year-old. Not the asshole. Kids are disgusting. I say that lovingly as I have 2 of my own. I don't share drinks with anyone because I got mono and spent 6 months in bed. I just prefer to not share things, and I think that's a fair boundary to have. Not the asshole. You're trying to teach your child proper table manners, and your husband is undermining you. Your boundaries are important and should be respected, and your kid should learn now not to take without asking. Not the asshole. All you have to say is, I absolutely hate people picking off my plate, to justify not letting people, even little people, pick off of your plate. Who cares if it makes sense to any other human on earth? It is not hurting anyone for you to have that boundary. If your husband wants to let the child eat off of his plate, so be it. She can learn to differentiate between the 2 of you easy enough to know who is okay with it and who is not. What is more detrimental is a partner refusing to acknowledge and respect your boundary in front of her. Not the asshole. You had to teach your kid manners. Unfortunate your husband didn't learn them a long time ago. Am I the asshole for helping my sister walk when everyone thinks she is exaggerating? Hello, I am 18F and my sister 12F has been complaining of body aches for a week now. She says all of her legs hurt in different places at different times, plus back hurts, plus head hurts, with ears getting blocked, plus hands as well. It really seems like her whole body is nothing but a ball of pain. How I help her walk is that I let her put her arm around my shoulders, while her available arm grips onto my arm. It seems to genuinely hurt her to stand, and she starts flopping even while trying to stand straight without support. The issue seems to be that sometimes she says that it hurts to simply lift her leg on the bed, whereas other times she does that without issue, and also twists in her sleep. My father saw this through the camera she was moving around throughout her sleep. We went to the doctor finally today, and he also seemed to agree that there was nothing too wrong. No arthritis in the blood report, nothing obviously wrong. He is my father's friend, I think? All this, and her general upbeat nature when she is sitting and playing with our cousin, has solidified our family's belief in the fact that she is faking. They think that the idea that she will get hurt and fall down is making her not put effort into trying to walk, and me being beside her ready to help is not helping. My father in particular has said all sorts of hurtful things, such as how she is faking to get attention from me, that it's 2001% my fault, etc. He also did this very frustrating thing where he mocked the way that my sister screams when she tries to walk. She scrunches up her face and screams, "Ah," or "ooh," when it hurts, and sometimes my father just laughs. Once he held a cane and imitated the noises, saying, "OMG, I am hurting so bad," while laughing. I really don't want to leave her alone in the room with my parents only. I think they have been very frustrating in this situation, as described above, but not leaving when they tell me to seems to just get added to my laundry list of flaws in this situation. I did leave once, when she first complained, and I returned to her crying and asking me why I abandoned her. It breaks my heart to see her like this. She cries very often due to how much it hurts, due to not feeling stable when I try to make her hold me in a way my parents and relatives think is better. It seems like if I follow their instructions, I am betraying my sister. But I don't want to stunt her or hurt her, especially when the doctor also said her to just put in more effort to walk. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Do you think your sister might have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, HEDS? Sometimes people with this condition are fine and can walk perfectly, But other days they might struggle to get out of bed because their ligaments hurt so badly. I recommend bringing this up with your doctor. Why is there a camera in your 12-year-old sister's bedroom? Not the asshole. She need to see a doctor who is not a family friend. She needs to see that person with neither of your parents in the room, because she may not be able to be honest with them there and they may be poisoning the doctor by minimizing her symptoms. She may need referral to a specialist. Juvenile onset arthritis is not the first or only possible cause of these issues. Just to name a few, did they consider Lyme disease, lupus, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, leukemia, ankylosing spondylitis? For that matter, did they test for multiple kinds of arthritis, rheumatoid, osteoarthritis, psoriatic arthritis? What about vitamin deficiencies like B12, CD? Not the asshole. And from the spouse of a chronically ill person, thank you for being the person to listen to her and believe her. You have no idea how many people are ignored and mocked by their medical team, not taken seriously, written off as being anxious, etc. Could she be faking it? Sure, that's always a possibility. And if so, that'll sort itself out down the road. You're a good sister. Not the asshole. Either your sister needs medical help for a physical condition, or she needs medical help for whatever she's going through that is causing her to fake a physical condition. How about suggesting that if she's faking it so badly that she get therapy? Because if she is faking it, there's a reason behind it. A cry for attention would be doing it once or twice. Saying she is in pain for this long suggests either she's telling the truth, or that something is badly wrong in your sister's life. Either way, a child therapist might be able to get to the root of the problem, and get real help for her, whether it is medical or emotional help she needs. You are not the asshole for supporting your sister. Good luck to you both, Op. Am I the asshole for leaving work early without telling anyone because it was over 130 degrees Fahrenheit where I work? Edit 2. I am cleared of all trouble by HR and my boss, who was not happy to be called into an emergency Zoom meeting. I sent an email and image of the thermo and was swiftly contacted by HR for a meeting as my contract had not been upheld by WB, mainly the temp part. I am now under the watch of a different manager who is closer to where I am working, and I will have one other employee with me until the end of next week when my boss returns. Thanks for all the comments you guys left. A lot of them helped open my eyes to the fact I truly walked out on my job. I hadn't thought about that before, but the comments really brought it to the forefront of my mind. So I, 18M, am currently interning at a very prestigious nursery in the Midwest. It's a really big deal for me because the company has government connections, and having this on my resume basically guarantees me future job opportunities. But here is the issue. My boss, let's call him MB, has been out of town on vacation for the past week. Normally, he's the one who works alongside me and checks in. But because he has gone, his boss, WB, who works out of a completely different office across the state from where I'm stationed, has been supervising me remotely using the security cameras in the greenhouses. The greenhouse I work in is about a mile away from mine and my boss's office building, and since MB is gone, I haven't had access to the air-conditioned office at all. I've been stuck at the greenhouses the entire time in the heat. Now, the weather has been brutal lately, with highs around 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside the greenhouse, it's even worse. There's no fan, no AC, and barely any ventilation. The only way I can cool it down is by opening the roll-up walls about 3 feet, but that doesn't do much. Even with shade cloth, the temperature inside reached over 130 degrees Fahrenheit today. I was working in those conditions for 6 hours straight before I started feeling lightheaded and got a headache. Since I couldn't cool off and had nowhere to rest, again, I had no access to the office, I made the decision to leave about 2 hours early. I didn't notify WB because I knew she'd be upset, and I don't have any sick leave to use anyway. About 30 minutes after I got home, WB checked the security cameras, saw I was gone, and called me. She asked where I was, and I told her I had gone home because I wasn't going to keep working in a greenhouse that was 130 degrees Fahrenheit. She told me that if I didn't return immediately and finish out the day, I'd be suspended with no pay for a week. Problem is, I live about 30 minutes away and can't work past 5 p.m. It was already 4:30, so there wouldn't have been enough time to drive back and get anything done. So here is where I might be the ass. I told her that even if I could make it back in, I wouldn't go back in because it was just too hot there, and that if she wants to make sure the plants in there are fine, she should come out of her nice AC'd office and try working in there when it is as hot as it is. She then told me her intern isn't having any problem with the heat. She only has one greenhouse to take care of, and it actually has ventilation unlike the 6 I have to take care of. So I just gave up on the conversation, said I was sorry, and hung up. So now I might be suspended, and I'm worried it'll ruin my reputation at this company. I get that I probably should have told someone, but I also think I shouldn't be expected to work in dangerous conditions with no break and no access to AC. So am I the asshole for going home early without telling my boss? Edit: to add more context, in my contract it does state that I cannot work in conditions about 115 degrees. You are the asshole, you left without telling anyone. You didn't tell them because you knew they'd be mad. I have no problem with you leaving, it was crazy hot and you had no place to cool down, it's a safety issue. But leaving without telling someone seems like a reasonable reason to suspend someone. You don't get to leave your job early without informing supervisors. That is how you get fired and suspended. Instead, you tell them because of the unsafe working conditions you are leaving early for your own health and safety. Then there is a record of why you left. To be clear, this can still get you fired though. They suck because they don't have a way to accommodate workers in an extreme heat environment, like cooling stations or other ways to manage worker safety. You are the asshole. I didn't notify WB because I knew she'd be upset. End of thread. You already admit you're the asshole right there. You're not wrong for not wanting to stay. But you talk to your boss and worst case leave anyways. But just going is not the right approach. Fellow horticulture person here. You are the asshole for leaving without telling her, but it would have been ridiculous to stay. It's not just the temperature inside the polyhouse, it's the humidity. I would have either called her and told her I was leaving, or if I had a vehicle there, I might have gone and sat in that with the air conditioning running for a while. You are the asshole specifically for not communicating with your boss. It's a critical skill you're going to have to learn. File a formal complaint for unsafe work conditions. 130 degrees for 6+ hours is inhumane. OSHA would have a field day with them. Not the asshole. OSHA heat exposure. Am I the asshole for giggling at a family's problems during an HOA meeting? This happened this past Sunday. My dad and stepmom are out in a small trip and I'm pet-sitting their cat and staying at their apartment while they're out. My dad asked me to attend the not sure how to call it, we live in Mexico and we don't have an HOA in the US sense, meeting due to some points about renovations, and other important issues would be touched upon. During the meeting, there was an open mic moment to discuss other matters in a more neutral way. One of the neighbors, a woman that we'll call Carol, raised a concern about the ongoing issue with the gang that's been terrorizing the complex for a while now, and how nothing had been done to stop this. The gang in question? A group of kids between 6 to 10 They're clear gang activities. Talking about games in the elevator, corridors, playing in the main plaza after school, going from Tower A to B to pick some of the other kids, or getting toys out to go play. I know some of them, they sometimes come to the apartment asking for band-aids or get one of my nephews to go play with them. Really good kids emo. Most outrageous thing they've done was hit a garden light with a ball and breaking it, which they took full accountability for and told management as soon as it happened. According Carol, the kids are an issue and they make her feel highly uncomfortable, because she can tell all of them are up to no good. Her daughter, a mid-teens, added that she feels so insecure when she's home alone cause more than once the kids have come up to her door and tried the door handle, banged on it, and that they've even tried picking the lock. Mind you, her apartment is across from my dad's, and the kids only knock on his twice a week when my nephew is there. And that she also felt unsafe walking anywhere near the plaza because she felt perved on by, again, a bunch of kids between 6-10. The husband was also very mad cause, according to him, he's seen them running around the underground parking lot, and I quote, keying cars and trying to open them, probably to steal the car or whatever is inside. Which cannot be true because all minors need to be accompanied by an adult or a security guard to access the parking area, to avoid any accident. I couldn't help it and snorted, then giggled when Mr. Dad added that whole bit about kids trying to steal cars, cause as we all know, kids are into that kind of stuff. Carol began to ask what was so funny and why I thought that gang activity was funny, when I could be the next one to be attacked. I probably messed up by telling her that. I doubt that a bunch of kids who look for anthills to kick are crime masterminds, which of course got a couple of giggles from other neighbors. Carol is now mad at me and my dad for raising someone who supports gangs. My dad doesn't give a shit because he hates Carol, and my stepmom is also mad at me for not taking this seriously. In some way, somehow, am I the asshole? My stepmom is also mad at me for not taking this seriously. Doesn't sound like there's very much to take seriously, other than Carol wanting to stop 6-10-year-olds having some innocent fun. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I also live in Mexico and some of my neighbors are also entitled lunatics. Children existing in Carol's vicinity shouldn't be maligned this way. Mexico takes slander laws pretty seriously. Perhaps Carol should shut her yap before she runs afoul of the law? In no way, no how, are you the asshole. Not the asshole. I am a grown-ass adult, and if what you're saying about the kids is true then I would have laughed too. Not the asshole. If Carol wants to live in a world where children don't exist, maybe she should buy a cabin in the woods. Not the asshole. I doubt you meant to giggle, and it sounds like the traditional old person versus kids. She has forgotten what being a kid is and is making a mountain out of a molehill.